Some people leave a conversation and forget about it within minutes, others replay the same moment for hours. The words, the tone, the pause before someone answered, their mind keeps asking the same question: what really happened there? Most people call this overthinking, but psychologists have discovered something strange. The same mental habit that makes people replay conversations may also be connected to creativity, strategy, and deep intelligence. And by the end of this video, you might start seeing your own mind very differently, because there may actually be two completely different ways the human mind processes the world. Some people respond instantly. Others pause, analyze, and silently explore different possibilities before they even speak. From the outside, it can look like hesitation, but inside the brain, something far more complex may be happening. Welcome to Inteller. If you're interested in intelligent psychology, philosophy, science, economics, and history, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing, and if you enjoy this video, feel free to like and share your thoughts in the comments. Now here's where things get interesting. When your mind drifts into imagined conversations or future situations, a brain system called the default mode network may become active. This network is closely linked to reflection, planning, and mental simulation. In simple terms, your brain may be running practice rounds for real life. And this creates a fascinating divide between two types of minds. Fast talkers react instantly to the moment. Deep thinkers often explore several outcomes internally before saying anything. Think of a chess player studying several moves ahead while everyone else simply reacts to the board. But here's the twist most people never realize. The same mental habit that causes overthinking may also be the very thing preparing the brain for deeper understanding, which raises a fascinating possibility. Maybe the real mystery isn't why some people think too much. Maybe the real mystery is what their brain is quietly preparing them for. So what is actually happening inside the mind of someone who constantly imagines different outcomes? At first it feels like pointless overthinking. But your brain may be running something closer to an internal rehearsal system. Think about it. Before an important conversation, have you ever imagined how the other person might respond, and prepared your reply ahead of time? Or after a disagreement, does your mind replay the moment while adjusting what you wish you had said? This mental habit isn't random. By mentally exploring possibilities, the brain can predict reactions, test responses, and prepare for complex social interactions. In other words, your mind may be quietly practicing life in advance. And this explains something interesting about deep thinkers. When they pause during a conversation, it isn't always hesitation. Often their brain is simply running several possible outcomes before choosing a response. But here's where things become complicated. When the brain becomes very good at simulation, it can start generating endless what-if questions. What if I said the wrong thing? What if they misunderstood me? What if something goes wrong? Suddenly the mind isn't just preparing for reality anymore. It's creating an entire landscape of possibilities. And that's why many deep thinkers notice something unusual. Even when nothing is happening around them, their mind is still active. Still predicting. Still analyzing. Still preparing. Which leads to an interesting mystery psychologists have been studying for years. Why do some brains run this mental simulator constantly, while others seem perfectly comfortable reacting in the moment? Have you noticed how some people can leave a conversation and forget about it within minutes, while others replay it again and again in their mind? They remember the tone of voice, the pause before someone replied, the exact words used. Then the brain quietly begins rewriting the moment. What if I had answered differently? What if they meant something else? What if I misunderstood the entire situation? At first glance this looks like simple overthinking. But psychologists believe something deeper is happening. Humans have a powerful ability known as theory of mind, the capacity to imagine what another person might be thinking or feeling. This ability helps us understand intentions, predict reactions, and navigate relationships. But for deep thinkers, this system often runs at a higher intensity. Instead of accepting a conversation at face value, their brain automatically begins searching for hidden meanings and alternative interpretations. It's almost like their mind becomes a detective examining every clue inside the interaction. And when that process doesn't stop immediately, the conversation keeps evolving inside the mind long after it ends in real life. New interpretations appear. Different replies are tested. The brain keeps asking the same quiet question: what really happened there? In many ways this replaying behavior is the brain's attempt to learn from social experiences. Early humans depended heavily on understanding other people's reactions. Reviewing interactions helped them avoid mistakes and maintain group acceptance. But here's the twist. While most people perform this analysis briefly and move on, deep thinkers often continue exploring the situation much longer, which means that while others experienced one moment, the deep thinker's brain may have experienced that same moment dozens of different ways. But here's the part many people misunderstand. Overthinking is rarely driven by logic alone. More often, it is powered by emotion. Humans are deeply social creatures, and our brains evolved to constantly watch for signs of acceptance or rejection. In ancient environments, being excluded from the group could threaten survival. Because of that, the brain developed systems that scan interactions for possible problems, a strange tone of voice, a delayed reply, a subtle change in expression. For deep thinkers, this emotional radar is often more sensitive. Instead of brushing off small signals, their mind pauses and begins analyzing them. Did they sound annoyed? Did I say something wrong? Did I miss something important? At first this seems useful. After all, noticing social signals can help us communicate better. But when emotional sensitivity becomes too strong, the brain begins treating normal interactions as potential threats. Instead of learning and moving forward, the mind keeps searching for hidden problems that may not even exist. And that's when thinking becomes exhausting. A simple conversation turns into a puzzle the brain feels compelled to solve. The more the mind analyzes the moment, the more interpretations appear. New doubts, new possibilities, new questions. Suddenly the brain is juggling multiple explanations for something that may have been perfectly ordinary. But this emotional sensitivity also reveals something important about deep thinkers. Many of them care deeply about how their words affect others. And that awareness, while valuable, can make the mind incredibly active. At this stage, something subtle begins to happen. The brain's ability to analyze situations slowly turns into a loop. One thought leads to another, then another. Soon the mind is examining dozens of possibilities, a mental cycle where the brain repeatedly returns to the same thought, trying to solve it but never reaching closure. The frustrating part is that the brain believes it is being productive. It feels like thinking harder will finally reveal the answer, but instead the loop simply continues. Imagine trying to untangle a knot by pulling the same thread again and again. Each attempt feels like progress, but the knot only tightens. In more extreme cases, this constant inner simulation can develop into patterns psychologists describe as maladaptive daydreaming, where the mind becomes absorbed in elaborate imagined scenarios. Most people never reach that extreme, but many still experience the exhausting version of the same cycle, a brain that refuses to let unfinished thoughts go. And here lies the strange irony. Deep thinkers often replay situations because they are searching for certainty. They want to fully understand the moment so they can finally move on. Yet the more the mind searches for perfect clarity, the more possibilities it discovers. Many people assume overthinking is simply anxiety or indecision, but research in personality psychology shows that people with strong curiosity and imagination often analyze experiences more deeply than others. Their mind naturally searches for patterns, connections, and alternative explanations, and that habit is strongly connected to creativity. Think about it. Creativity rarely comes from reacting instantly. It often emerges from exploring different possibilities before choosing a direction. Imagine two people facing the same problem. One accepts the first solution that appears. The other pauses, examines the situation from several angles, and tests different ideas before deciding. The second approach may appear slower, but it often produces deeper insight. This is the paradox of deep thinking. The same mental process that sometimes creates overanalysis can also generate powerful ideas. So the real question becomes this: can this powerful mental activity actually become an advantage? Surprisingly, many high performers already use it intentionally. Athletes, performers, and strategists often practice something called mental rehearsal, imagining actions before they happen in reality. The brain processes vivid imagination in a way that closely resembles real experience. When someone mentally walks through a situation step by step, the brain strengthens the pathways involved in that action. This is why visualization techniques are widely used by elite performers. For example, basketball legend Michael Jordan was known for mentally preparing for game situations before they occurred. The difference between destructive overthinking and productive thinking lies in direction. Destructive thinking endlessly replays the past. Productive thinking prepares for the future. Fast talkers react quickly to the moment. Deep thinkers often pause because their mind is exploring possibilities before responding. And while this habit can sometimes feel exhausting, it also reveals something important about the human mind. Some brains are built to react, others are built to analyze, reflect, and anticipate. The key is learning how to guide that ability rather than fighting it, because when directed well, the mind of a deep thinker becomes something remarkable, a system that studies experiences, searches for patterns, and prepares for the future. And maybe the real question isn't whether thinking too much is good or bad. Maybe the real question is this: when something important happens in your life, do you react instantly? Or does your mind quietly start running scenarios before you say a word? And if your mind does that, maybe it isn't overthinking. Maybe it's simply thinking ahead. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to Intella for more insights on intelligent psychology, philosophy, science, economics, and history. Let me know in the comments which part interested you the most. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.